Hello. Hello. I want to welcome you. Welcome to another singles and married online conference. We are dealing with the beautiful marriage. The beautiful marriage. You're highly welcome. Yesterday we started the conference where we looked at the beautiful marriage. The beautiful marriage. What singles and married? What makes a marriage beautiful? That was what we looked at yesterday. So we want to welcome you to the edition, the conference, the online summit. Online summit is taking from this moment till Sunday, 27th, 28th, 29th, and then 30th. We wrap it up. Yeah, please, if you can hear me, let me know from the comment section. You can type a comment that you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. You can see my screen as well. Let me know if you can see my screen. Before we progress, just let me know I can hear you. I can also see your screen. I can see your screen. I can see you. Just let me know if you. Let me know in the comment section that you can hear me. You can. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, that's very good. Yeah. So can you hear me? Just let me know. Can you hear me? I can see the comment. Just let me know that you can hear me. Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. What about? Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Let me know if you can see my screen. Is it very clear? Is it very clear? Can you see my screen? Can you see the banner and the Oh, very good, very good. You can hear me, you can see me. Can you see the screen? The screen. Oh, very interesting. You can see the screen. Very good, very good, very good. So we're going to progress. But before that, let's just have a word of prayer. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we appreciate your name. We want to thank you for this singles and married conference. This conference and summit where you want to bless and teach us what it means to have a beautiful marriage. We want to thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Blessed be your name. So I want to welcome you for wherever you are, from every part of the world. Welcome to Manifestations for Singles and Married Academy. It's an academy where we build enviable godly relationship. It's an academy where enviable relationships are built. That is what we do in Manifestations for Singles and Married Academy. So I want to welcome you in this conference. The beautiful marriage. The beautiful marriage. Please, you can go ahead to share the link. You can share the link, share it on your wall, share it on different places, so that people can come and your friends can come and benefit from what God is doing in this academy. Because your marriage will be beautiful. Your marriage must be beautiful. That is the essence of this conference. Today, what we're going to be doing today, yesterday, thank you so much to the international marriage consultant Frank Chima Okorie. He opened the summit, the online summit yesterday, where he was talking about a beautiful marriage. Today, we're going to be looking at a very interesting topic, which is misconception that a lot of young people have about marriage. Misconceptions that a lot of young people have about marriage that ruin their life. Misconception that so many young people have about marriage that ruins their life. That is what we're going to be looking at today. That's what we'll be looking at. Now, if you talk about misconception, if you go to the book of Genesis chapter 3, after God have told man about eating every food in the garden, but not to eat the fruit that was on the center of the garden, Satan went and changed that idea and told them, is it true that God said something like this? And along the line, Eve began to doubt and sort of have some sort of warped conception or a misconception about the whole idea. And that was one of the things that led when Satan succeeded to deceive her. What happened next? She was deceived, and she went to deceive the husband as well, and that landed them in a problem. A lot of marriages are suffering a lot of terrible things because a lot of young people enter marriage with a lot of misconceptions. A lot of misconceptions. A lot of young people enter marriage with a wrong misconception, and that is why the marriage institution is suffering a lot of things today. If we can correct some of these misconceptions, I bet you your marriage will be beautiful. The reason why a lot of marriages are not beautiful is because people enter marriage with very wrong and warped conceptions about marriage. Today, I'll be sharing with you 11 misconceptions. I will sharing with you just 11 misconceptions that a lot of young people enter marriage with that ruins their life. Young people misconception that they have about marriage, they enter marriage with this sort of idea. When you talk about misconception, it's just something that is not true, something that is that is a sort of untrue, that is not the right thing. It's sort of, when you enter marriage with such misconception, you will certainly have problem. That is what we are suffering today, because a lot of young people entered marriage with these what conceptions, with these misconceptions, with these wrong notions, and that is why a lot of people are suffering a lot of things. What I need to say very importantly before we progress is, marriage, as we know, marriage is one of the greatest gifts that God has given to us as man. One of the greatest gifts that man has is not money. One of the greatest gifts that you have is not car. One of the greatest gifts that you have is not possessions. One of the greatest gifts that you have is marriage. And that is the reason why Satan, that was one of the first one of the first attack that man suffered was his marriage. So that is the reason why we're going to be looking at these misconceptions and see how we can change that narrative. How we can change that narrative so that we don't become victims. There are a lot of victims today in marriages because of these misconceptions. A lot of people moving about entering marriage with a lot of misconception. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So the first misconception we're going to be looking at today, like I told us, I'll be sharing with you basically 11 of those misconceptions. If you have questions, you can put it in the comment section. We're going to take time and respond to your question. If you have any questions as regards a relationship, you have any question as regards love, as regards family, in the academy, we're going to take time and respond to your question. So the first misconception we're going to be looking at today is that marriage will solve all your problems and take care of your loneliness. A lot of young people have this misconception that when they get married, all their problems, emotional problems, financial problems, will be solved, and that their loneliness problem will be solved. But that is a misconception. I need to let you know something. When God gave Adam a wife, God was not saying, he didn't see that man was lonely. No. If you look at Genesis chapter 2 verse 18, it says that man was alone. To be alone is different from being to being lonely. Aloneness and loneliness is not the same thing. To be lonely means Maybe you're feeling bored, you need somebody to sort of keep you company or something. So Adam was not feeling bored because he had a lot of animals around him. He had a lot of things he could play with. He was going to work and doing all sort of things. So he was not bored. He was not lonely. What he was facing was the challenge of aloneness. And what is aloneness? Aloneness is a state whereby you have this vacuum within you. Like when God took away the rib from Adam, there was a vacuum. That vacuum made man to become alone. So when he put back that, when he put back the rib, he takes care of that aloneness. Marriage will not take care of your aloneness. In fact, within, I think just I spoke with somebody not too long, married with kids, but it came to a point whereby the husband said, "Go and stay in your own room. Let me stay in my own room." They were married, but the woman, the man was feeling lonely. In fact, sometimes the man would pick up his call and start calling other persons because he felt the wife was not providing for the emotional needs of his emotional needs. A lot of people are in marriage, but they are still lonely. So it's better you correct that misconception. Don't have it. Don't think that when you enter marriage, all the financial problem you are passing through, all the issues you are passing through, that they become a thing of the past. It's not true. Marriage will not take care of your loneliness. Marriage could take care of your aloneness, but not your loneliness. That's one of the misconceptions that many people have, many young people have. When they enter marriage and what they expect, they are not seeing it. They feel bored. They feel lonely. Some of them become frustrated that this is not what I expected. I thought when I enter into marriage, I will not be lonely again. So it's better you prepare your mind even before entering marriage. Because if you don't prepare your mind and you enter like that, I'm telling you, you're going to have a lot of problems. A man met me sometime, was saying how he was pampered, how he was taken care of when he was unmarried, and he believed that when he gets married, the wife is going to even double what he was getting before he got married. But that was not the case, and that became a very big problem in his marriage. To the point whereby he said he was even willing to throw away his wedding ring. So marriage will not solve all your problem. Marriage will not solve your loneliness problem. So that is one of the things you need to know, so that you prepare your mind. So that you prepare your mind. Not that when you get to marriage and you become disappointed. If you become disappointed, you'll start acting strange, start behaving anyhow, because of what you enter with so much expectations. So you need to know that, yes, your spouse can be there to help you to grow. Your spouse can be there to help you to achieve things, to be fulfilled, but it will not solve all your problems. That is one of the things we want to learn in this online Singles and Married Online Summit. That's one of the things we want to learn. What are the things that you need to make your marriage beautiful? So that is one of the first misconceptions. So if you're a young person, if this is the kind of misconception you have, you need to begin to change that. Because if you enter into marriage with this misconception and you are getting less of what you expect, it's going to lead to a problem. So that is the first misconception. The second misconception we're going to be looking into is a lot of young people, they said, irrespective of how a man treats me or a woman treats me, I believe that one day it will change. In fact, some persons even go further to say, I will change him myself. I'm going to change him myself. And people enter marriage and it becomes a problem. A lady met me sometime is about to get married. I told her, and he told me that how the guy was so abusive. The guy was so abusive, was maltreating her, but she insisted that she wanted to go and marry the guy. Perhaps because the guy was helping to sponsor her education and everything. So when she talked to me, I asked her one or two questions, and from the signs I've seen, it's something that will not work. First of all, they were not compatible. But the lady believed that she can change the man. They got married. Because what we do is to give counsel, is to advise people. We gave her counsel, advised her, but she felt she can change the man. She felt the man would change. And they got married. In fact, one of the days she called me where they were chasing her with knife in the marriage. It's God that have saved her. So it's very, very important. As a young person, if the person you are dating, the person that you are going out with, you don't see any sign of change, he's maltreating you, you see all kind of warning signs, and you feel you're going to change the person, I'm sorry because you can't change anybody. It's God that changes people. So don't have that misconception and feel I can change the man, I can change him, I can change her. That is very important. It's very important for you as a single person. If he's maltreating you, he maltreats you today, he will come and tell you, I'm sorry. He treats you very bad, come and tell you, I'm sorry the next time. And it continues. And you feel you can manage it. You might be opening yourself for a life of misery. If you don't see sign of change before marriage, you don't even venture into go into such marriage, because if you enter to such marriage, you'll be opening yourself to a life of misery. So that is why such seminar is very important for singles and married. A lot of people made a lot of mistakes. A lot of people were not fortunate to hear some of the things that we're hearing. Some of us were not fortunate to get some of these teachings and all that. So that is why it's very important for you as a young person going to marriage. If you don't see signs of change, you observe that it's abusive, it's manipulative, you see things that is not in line with what you expect. I'm not saying that the person should be perfect. No, nobody is perfect. In most of my marriage seminar I organize, I tell people, if you have like 60% of what you, as in maybe from the things you've written down, all the things you've written down, you have like 60% of those, it is fine. Nobody's perfect. Then you begin to build on yourself. You begin to grow. In fact, yesterday somebody was sharing how the spouse has been treating her in the marriage and all those stuff. I have to encourage the lady that in marriage you work on yourself, and you must know that two of you are not one. So one of the things you need to do before going to marriage, you need to know that you are marrying somebody that is very different from you, somebody that perhaps has a very different background, different upbringing. So some level of tolerance is there. It's okay. But when you see some signs, threats, and things that is not in line, it's very important that you call it quits. Because if it doesn't change, you don't see some sign of change, don't believe he's going to change after you get married. So that's the second misconception. The third misconception that we've seen about marriage, that people have about marriage, is that marriage works if there are enough money. That money is all you need to enjoy marriage. The happiness in marriage is a function of money, the money you have. This is a misconception also. Yes, you need money to take care of some basic things in marriage. You need money to take care of some of the key things you need in marriage. But if you make money the priority, you're going to have problem in the marriage. Many people who have made money their priority ended up being used as ritual, sacrifice, and all that. I'm not saying you don't need money. You need money to buy some of the basic things. You need money for calls. You need money for shelter. You need money for all those stuff. But money should not be your number one condition. So it's very wrong to have the belief, to have that notion saying that money is all you need to enjoy marriage. So this is very, very important. There are people who have all the money. There are people who have all the resources, but they are passing through hell. Because your success in marriage is not a function of the money you have. So as a young person, I'm here to advise you. In fact, when I met my wife as a young man, I was not really doing anything reasonable. In fact, I was still a youth corper then. But we agreed to marry because we've seen our path, we've seen the prospect and everything. So I'm not saying money is not necessary or something. No. Money is necessary. But there are key things which we're going to look at in the course of this conference. We're going to look at some of the key things that you need to consider before you can say, yes, it's time to get married. But if you are after money, I'm very sorry for you. Because time will come whereby you may not see that money again. And oftentimes in such marriages, they start having problems. I know of a marriage. The lady was the one that was taking care of the home. Things were moving very, very well. Something happened. The lady lost her job. When he lost her job, that became the problem. Started from there. The money that was coming was not forthcoming again. And everything she does in the house, the man will find fault with it, because he married her because she was a working class lady. And the lady didn't even take time to know the man very, very well. They just got married. As I speak to you today, they are not together again for now. So that is why you must be very careful to know that money is not everything, even though money is necessary for marriage. So it's a very wrong idea. It's a misconception to think that money is all you need to succeed in marriage. So that is the third misconception we're going to be looking at. The fourth misconception we're going to be looking at is that if he or she pays attention or show you affectionate care, that he or she is interested in marrying you. This is another very big misconception I've seen with young people. In fact, I was a victim of this. At the time, I got some persons started telling me about persons who took my name to different places to ask that did I want to marry so people. I told them I never asked. I never. There was no time I told any of those ladies that I want to marry them. Perhaps because of how maybe caring and all that. So this is a misconception that the young, especially the ladies, have. That a guy that is close to you is showing you some care, is calling you a very nice name, showing you care. It doesn't mean the guy want to marry you. It is very, very important. A lot of people, a lot of heart has been broken because of this. A lot of people have nearly committed suicide. Some have drank sniper because the guy that was coming so close to them, maybe in one social gathering, their church meeting or something, went and married another person. So this is very, very important. So if the guy is coming to you, he's so nice to you, he's so caring, it doesn't mean that the guy want to marry you. Sorry about that. Please just hold on. It's just one moment, please. Hello. Very sorry about that. I didn't know the laptop one of it was not charging. Please, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's continue. So we're talking about misconception number 4. So that the guy is showing you affectionate care, is so nice to you, doesn't necessarily mean he wants to marry you, even though he may have it in mind. So if he has not said, I want to marry you, if he has not said, I want to marry you, you must be very, very careful. Even we've had cases whereby people, they say they want to marry you just because they want to get at your pants. They want to marry you because they want to. They know maybe you're very a very well cultured type that doesn't just take any kind of person. That is why you need to be very careful. Within this very conference, hopefully, we're going to show you signs you need to look at to know that, okay, this person is the right person for me. Signs you're going to look at to know that this person really want to marry me. In the course of the conference, we're going to look at it. So showing you those kind of care without verbalizing it, and not just verbalizing it, you need to see some signs. There are things you need to consider before you say, okay, yes, this person is serious. So that is very, very important. So that is the fourth misconception. So the fifth misconception is that I could trap a man with pregnancy. When I become pregnant for him, I could trap him to marry me. And the misconception that if the lady could become pregnant, that is a sign that she's going to be a fruitful woman. In fact, something happened not too long. Somebody called me, the lady that was in a relationship with, they were in a relationship, and the guy didn't know that the lady was already married before. And the lady didn't open up to the guy that she was married before. So what happened? Along the line, in the relationship, the lady became pregnant. So when she became pregnant, along the line, the guy that was married to this lady before started threatening this guy that the lady that he's going out with is his wife, that he has kids, not just kids, not one kid, not even two, for him. So the guy called and was asking me what will he do? What will he do? That she has impregnated this lady now, and somebody is threatening him that he's his wife. You understand? So along the line, the guy didn't even marry the lady. So that you made yourself, you trapped the guy through pregnancy does not mean the guy will marry you. Yes, the guy could say, okay, I will take care of the kids, I will take care of the baby. That does not mean the person is going to marry you. So it's a misconception to believe that when you open your legs for people, you open your legs for guys and become pregnant for them, that they will marry you. It's a misconception. That is why you need to be very, very careful. You need to guide yourself as a person. You understand? And that the lady becomes pregnant during your courtship or when you are dating her, it's not a guarantee that the lady is going to be pregnant after the marriage. So that is why you need to rid your mind of such misconceptions. It's very, very important if you want to enjoy a beautiful marriage. Yeah. So the next misconception, the sixth misconception we're going to be looking at is that if there is chemistry between you and the person, that definitely, even though you are not compatible, that your marriage is going to be very beautiful. That is a fallacy. It's another misconception that we've seen. We've seen it as a misconception that a lot of young people have. That as long as they have this chemistry between them and they could connect with themselves, that the marriage is going to be beautiful. Let me tell you, there was this lady and the guy. They loved themselves so much. In fact, the love was so intense. The love was so intense. But there was a problem. The problem was their belief system. The guy called me and was telling me, I love this lady so much. In fact, I want to marry her. But the problem is this: the religion or the religion of the lady, the lady was having a religion that was different from that of the guy. The guy was an extremist. The lady was an extremist. They were not willing to compromise. But the chemistry was so intense. So she, after the whole thing, I told him anyway. It's a thing that you need to resolve now, because if we don't resolve it, it's enough to tear apart your home. It's enough to tear apart your home. So along the line, they had to part ways. So irrespective of the chemistry, irrespective of how you are feeling about him or about her, irrespective of that, it's very important that you check your compatibility. Are you compatible with him? Physiologically, in fact, I talk about 8 kinds of compatibility. If time permits us within this conference, within this summit, online summit, I will share those compatibility with you. One of the compatibility I talked about was physiological compatibility. We went for a visit in one of the hospitals, general hospitals. We saw this guy, a sickle cell guy. In fact, the woman says since she gave birth to the guy, life has been so unbearable for her. When I was probing to find out, I discovered that she was very deeply in love with the man, the guy the guy, and finally they got married without even checking their compatibility in terms of physiological, their genotype and their blood group and all that. And they finally got married, and they brought a lot of stress on the life of the child. A lot of such children didn't enjoy their life because parents couldn't check compatibility. They were carried away with chemistry. So it's very important that you don't have it as a misconception. No matter how, when I talk about chemistry, I'm talking about that attraction that you have between you and the guy and the lady. No matter how that chemistry is, there are other things you need to check. So that is why it's a misconception to think that what you need to depend only upon is chemistry. So it's very, very important. So the next misconception we've seen, this one is also related to the number 6 misconception I shared, that if the love between you is intense, then naturally it will get stronger when you get married. That if the love between you and the man, the husband, the man you want to marry, or the woman you want to marry, if the love is intense, naturally the thing is going to get stronger when you get married. But that is not true. That is not true. In fact, there are 2 kinds of love. I talk about 2 kinds of love. I call the first kind of love ice cream love. I call it ice cream love. That is the kind of love that is, you see, you are so intense, you love the guy. In fact, you may not even eat if he doesn't call you. You may not even sleep. In fact, before you sleep, you need to hear his voice. You need to hear her voice. In fact, at times even you want to even go and want to go and wash under his shoe. You want to go and even sit on top of his head, and because of you do all kind of crazy stuff because of that. That is what I call ice cream love. Psychologists, they've told us that ice cream love, within 2 years, it melts away. It melts away. So after 2 years, that is when you see the real love. Some persons, it doesn't even take up to 2 years. We've seen couples whereby even within 1 week, within 2 weeks of their marriage, within 2 weeks of their marriage, you've started hearing that couples, they want to kill themselves, they want to do all kind of funny things. That is what we've seen. It's after 2 years that is we now begin to see the real love, the sacrificial love, whereby you are willing to sacrifice for your partner. That is one of the things you need to have a beautiful marriage. So don't think that ice cream love, that love that is packing your head, that love that makes you don't want to hear anybody again, you lie to your mother to go and meet the guy somewhere in a hotel, you lie to your father to go and meet the girl somewhere, that love is going to be intense like that, even after marriage. So it's a misconception that a lot of young people have. So when they enter marriage and the love is not as intense as they expect, it's not as intense as they expect, they begin to fight. You begin to see all kind of things. In fact, that's why a lady could take knife and stab her husband. A man could take knife and stab the wife. A wife that he married, the wife that she married. So that is what we see in marriages. So it's very important that we know you know this. It's very important. The love, after about 2 years, naturally, it might fade away. So now, consciously now, you now decide to love this. You decide to love the lady. You decide to love the guy, even though the person might have some flaws. So that is very, very important. So that is a misconception number 7. I said I'm going to share with you about 11 misconceptions. After that, maybe just give you some important notes, something you need to note as a young person that's going to help you. So the misconception number 8 that I have here is that if the lady is religious, if the guy is religious, it's going to make a very beautiful spouse. That is a misconception. Many persons have married people who are very pious, people who are who speak in tongue, who do all kind of thing, and it led to a lot of problems. So this is very, very important. That you marry someone that is religious does not mean the marriage is going to be beautiful. So there are things that makes a marriage beautiful. Yes, there's a place of God in marriage, but that somebody is appearing to be, some persons will come to you and tell you that God told me that you are my wife, God told me this, God told me that. You don't marry based on that. If you marry based on people coming to you to tell that God told you, you might have problem. You might have problem. So that is why it's very important for you as a young lady, for you as a young man. Don't be carried away by people trying to show you that they are religious. We see people who appear as religious people and they go to start doing things that are very terrible. So that is why, as we're opening this conference, it's important you understand this. If you want to enjoy a beautiful marriage, these misconceptions, you need to take them very seriously. You need to take them very seriously. Because if you relegate them and enter marriage and feel it doesn't matter, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So lack of knowledge of these things could lead to a lifetime of misery. So that is the number 8 misconception we're going to be looking at. Number 9 misconception I'll be sharing with you tonight is you marry somebody that when you marry somebody from the same ethnic group, when you're from the same nationality, that your marriage is going to work very, very fine. That is a fallacy. It's not true that when you marry somebody from the same group, that the marriage is going to work very fine. That is not true. So that is the reason why you need to understand. So what are those things that I need? What are those things that I need to have a beautiful marriage? I'm very glad that the marriage consultant we had yesterday, Franchima Korea, he shared a lot of things about most of those things. So as we progress in this, we're going to look at some more deep things about marriage. So know it very well. Sometimes some person will say, let us go, let's go to my village to go and marry. Let me go to the place where I grew up to go and marry. It's not a guarantee that when you go to such places that your marriage is going to be blissful. So it's very, very important. So it's a misconception that young people have. So misconception number 10, that people who marry without experimenting sex are likely to have issues in their marriage. That it's advisable to test and see. So this is another misconception that we've seen a lot of young people have. that how can you marry somebody you've not tested? How can you marry a lady? How can you marry a man you've not tested? By the grace of God, myself and my wife, we courted ourselves for 4 years. We didn't test ourselves. In fact, at the time, one of my friends was telling me, how can you be dating such a beautiful lady without even having sex with her? But the Bible said something. It said marriage is honorable and the bed undefiled. If you want to see the hand of God as a young person, like I told you, a MAFSAMA, Manifestation for Singles and Married Academy, what we do is to build enviable relationship, godly relationship. So if God is the bedrock of your relationship, that relationship will be enviable. Yes, you can test her now. You can test him now. Let me know if he can have sex with me very, very well. Let me know whether she's good in bed, whether he's good in bed. You might know all those things. But sex alone cannot keep a marriage. Sex alone cannot keep a marriage. That is the reason why you need to know there are things that keeps marriage. Very, very important. Very, very important. Yes, my wife and I, God helped us for that 4 years. After marriage, in fact, even now, some time you could get tired as a person. So that is why it's important you know what are those things I need to build my marriage on. What are those key things? So finally, before I give you some important notes, Misconceptions number 11 I want to share with you. Some people come and tell you that marriage have no formula, that you define it the way you like and do it the way you deem fit. It's a misconception that marriage has no formula. If you look at the right, you can see a triangle. You can see a triangle there. You can see at the tip of the triangle, you can see God. You look at the far left, you can see a woman. The far right, you can see a man. That is a triangle. That is a formula. That is a formula. The distance between the man and the wife. If the distance between the man and God, if the distance is, let's say, 5 meters, and the distance between and the distance between the lady and the and God is also 5 meters. Now, if the man's distance, the distance between the man and God reduces, let's say the distance become 2 meters, and the distance between the lady and God becomes 2 meters, the distance between the man and the guy and the woman will also reduce. So one of the formula is God have laid principles for marriage. For instance, God said that the man is the head and that the woman is the helper. You want to change that equation. You want to change that formula. You have problems. You have problems. God have said you should love your wife, that the wife should submit to the husband, and you come and say you're a feminist. You've arrived. You want to change that equation or that formula. You will have issues. So these are things that these are misconceptions we've seen in the past that a lot of young people have and are suffering terribly. So that is why we need to correct most of this anomaly, so that you don't enter marriage with this misconception and begin to lament along the line. So at this point, I want to share with you some important things you need to note. These things, if you desire beautiful marriage, you need to note these things I want to share with you. Number one, I want to share with you is speculation versus conviction. You don't marry somebody based on speculation. You don't marry somebody based on hearsay. I heard this. I heard the person. I heard this about a person. You don't marry based on that. You don't marry based on he told me that he told me that he's from a very nice family, that he's a nice person. No, you don't marry based on those speculations. You don't marry based on speculations. You marry based on personal conviction. You need to have a conviction that this person I want to marry is the right person for me. Within this period of this conference, we will look at some of those important things you need to consider before you can say yes to a person, yes to a man, or yes to a woman. That is very important. So the second important note I want you to look at is, a very important note is ephemeral versus funeral. Ephemeral versus funeral. I said to marry based on the physical things you see. She has a big breast, a big boobs. She has a big buttocks. In fact, the guy is a six-pack guy. He has a bit. I'm not saying those things are bad. But when you marry based on those ephemeral things, you are preparing for your funeral. You are preparing for your funeral. By the grace of God, one of the things we'll be looking at this period is why marriages fail. Why marriages fail. Why a lot of marriages people are passing through terrible things because of things like this. We're going to share some of that tomorrow and next tomorrow to wrap up the conference. So the third thing I want you to look at is, I talk about rush and get crushed. Rush and get crushed. That's the important third thing I want you to note. A lot of people, there is nothing to rush. There's nothing to rush. When you rush into marriage, you will get crushed in that marriage. I say time is of essence because time reveals a lot of things. So this is key and it's important for you as we try to wrap up. Then the fourth thing I mentioned here, I said mentor versus tormentor. I talk about you connecting to a marriage mentor, connecting to somebody you can be accountable to. Some husbands, some wife, they are not accountable to anybody. I said if you don't have maybe like a mentor, your marriage mentor, you face certain level of tormentors in your marriage. That is very, very important. That is very, very important. If you don't have a marriage mentor, people you can say, okay, you are exposing yourself to tormentor. So that is very important. So number 5 point I want to state here. Number 5 point I want to state is, I talk about associating with the right kind of people. It's very, very important for you to associate with the right kind of people if you want to enjoy a beautiful marriage. Because the cycle as a young person, the places you go, you're likely to get a husband or a wife around this place. So that is why you need to watch associations. You need to watch the kind of people that you mingle with. Because if you mingle with the wrong people, you will get yourself entangled with the wrong people. So this is very, very important. So finally, I talk about marriage versus marriage. Marriage versus marriage. A lot of people have married their age instead of marriage because of what they were hooked up with the wrong kind of people. So this is very, very important. This is very, very important. It's very important that you take everything we've said today. You take everything we've said today because your marriage will be beautiful, depending on you, depending on these things we said. So don't enter marriage with this misconception. Don't enter marriage with misconception. Enter marriage with a clear mind. Just a wrap up of the things we said. Number 1, we said that marriage will not solve all your problems. That it will not take care of your loneliness. That's one of the first things we said today. Number 2 thing we said today, we said that irrespective of how the guy treats you, or of how the person or the lady treats you, that you're going to change the person, that you cannot change anybody. And the second thing we said, just trying to wrap up. The third thing we said we say that marriage is going to work if you have enough money. That is not true. That is not true. Then the fourth thing we said today, was, we say that that he said if he or she, if he pays attention, is showing you care, affections, and all those stuff, that means he's interested in me. That is not true. That the person showing you care does not necessarily mean that he or she is interested in you. The fifth thing we said, as you can see from the screen, that if you could trust the person with pregnancy, that he's going to surely marry you, or that if the lady could be pregnant now, it means that she's going to be very fruitful. That is not true. That is a fallacy as well. Then the sixth thing we said was that if there is chemistry, connection between you and the person, that means that even though you're not compatible, that means the marriage is going to be a lifelong, you're going to have a blissful marriage. We said that is also a misconception. The seventh thing we said was that if there's an intense love between you, that love is going to grow naturally after you get married. We said that's a fallacy. We talked about two kinds of love. We talked about the ice cream love and the main love you see, where the man sacrifices himself, sacrifice even some of the things he needs to please his wife, to please the husband. That was what we talked about. Then the eighth thing we talked about was said that if he or she is religious, that are spiritual, she's going to make a very good husband or wife. We said that is also a misconception that a lot of young people have about marriage. The ninth thing we talked about, we say that when you marry from the same ethnic group, the same ethnic nationality, or tribe, or your tribe, that is, you're going to have a blissful marriage with that. We said that is also a fallacy. The 10th thing we talked about, we said that when people, that people who marry without experimenting sex, that are likely to have issues in their marriage. We say that is also a misconception. I gave an example with myself. I was in courtship with my wife for 4 years. We didn't have sex for 1 day, and God has been blessing our marriage. Our marriage is really heaven on earth by the grace of God. Then lastly, we talked about people who say marriage has no formula, you define it, you do what you like. God is the originator of marriage. He's the one that ordained marriage. You don't do what you like, you do what he likes. In fact, Christ even said, you don't love as you want to love, you love as he loves you. So these things are very important things that we need to state. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time to join this conference. MAFSAMA, if you know, you can write in the comment and say building enviable godly relationship. MAFSAMA, building enviable godly relationship. Thank you very, very much for everything. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for today. Thank you very, very much. It's you can, if you have any question to ask, you just spend the few seconds to ask question. If you have any question you feel maybe you want, you need clarification, you can please ask the question. Within these few minutes, let's see if we can answer some of those questions. If you feel like you have a question that's bothering you based on marriage, you can feel free to ask those questions. We want to thank God so much for the conference. We want to thank God so much for what all he has done. Your marriage, I'm praying for you. Your marriage will be beautiful. Your marriage is going to be very beautiful. If you're going to do these things that we said, these things we've itemized, your marriage is going to be very beautiful. Don't enter marriage with misconception. A lot of young people have entered marriage, and today they are running from pillar to post, going to prayer houses, because they refuse to take some of these things that they may look so simple. They may look so simple, but that's what makes the difference. So as you go into your own marriage, I'm praying for you. God is going to help you. You're going to enjoy your marriage. So thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. MAFSAMA, building enviable godly relationship. MAFSAMA, it's Manifestation for Singles and Married Academy. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Enjoy your evening. Have a wonderful marriage. Your marriage must be beautiful. God bless you so much. Thank you so much. Bye.